where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski goes dives on the right side, very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Juna Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will clip the grass a little away. 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Onko live meidän ääntä?
Konbanwa minasan. Good evening everyone and welcome to round number 6 of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix series here from Land of the Rising Sun. We returned to Japan for the 6th round. We were already here for the first round in Suzuka. Now it's the round number 6 from Twin Ring Motegi, the East layout here tonight. I am Joonas Puhakka as per usual. Joining me in the commentary booth is our resident expert commentator Tapani Linnaluoto. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. I finally returned from the forest.
Yes, did you have any good shaman stuff that you were doing there?
Well, no, I was only barbecuing sausages at 4 a.m. at -2 degrees Celsius.
Sounds like a typical Finnish weekend then. Should we join on board with one of the drivers, for example, Joni Takanen, as you take us through this east layout of Twin Ring Motegi? It might not be very familiar to the viewers.
Yeah, so it begins on the back straight. It's a very technical circuit. First corner is a slow right-hander. Then we get to this S section. It's right, left. It's hard to see the final apexes through the corner, and you have to anticipate the apex. And then we're back into these stop and go, almost hairpin-like corners, not quite, but almost. And here at turn 8 and 9, it's left, right, S curve, a bit tricky, flowing corner, just try to get the most speed out of the car, and again stop and go left-hander. Short straight ahead of us before the last corner, which is the only real hairpin on this track, but it's quite a wide one, so it's not as slow as you would think.
Yes, and we are running on board right now with Joni Takanen as Tapani Linnaluoto walked us through the track. His first lap is 1:10.882, and it is enough for the provisional pole position, as we have been used to seeing from Joni Takanen this season. However, David Martinez gets a bit better off a first lap, so let's see what Takanen can do here, and let's see how David Martinez responds. Mark Pickford currently in the provisional third place, ahead of Teemu Valkejärvi, Tobias Gerber, Philip Lake, Edward von Velsen, Gerd Hofer, and Clifton Cockrell. Currently, those drivers have done their first flying laps. The track temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, 21 degrees clear skies here in Japan. Quite a good weather indeed. Wind is blowing from the southeast at 13 to 14 kilometers per hour. So it's pretty average conditions, pretty good racing conditions. I would say almost crisp clear. We are looking at Takanen's second lap as he is indeed looking to improve. He is not used to being on the second place or indeed out from the pole position this season. He has been excellent in qualifying, also excellent in races, as we witnessed last week in Spa-Francorchamps. Also last time we were in Japan at Suzuka, Takanen took a very convincing victory and really set the pace there and established himself as a serious championship contender. Now let's see, is his second lap going to be enough? Comes across the line and 110.816, so just enough to take the pole position. But how will David Martinez respond? 8.836, so it's not quite enough to take the pole position from Takanen. Only 2/100 of a second between those guys. Then Valkejärvi goes into the 7th place. Who do we have still left on the track? Ian Card is just starting his second flying lap. His first lap was a 1:12.0. Now let's see if this man, the Englishman, can improve on his second lap. He should improve because this is not somewhere where he is used to starting at all. Currently the top 10 is Joni Takanen, David Martinez, Victor Rodriguez, Sergio Macias, Mathieu Wood, Alex Milward, Mark Pickford, Dem Valkejärvi, Fabian Gerber and Michael van den Berg. So that is your current top 10. Let's see if Ian Card can break through in there. He is currently 1.2 seconds off the pole position. That is held by Joni Takanen, as we just established. He's, however, only a couple of tenths of a second from the top 10. Very tight qualifying in there. Very close gaps as they should be, because this is a short track. We have very short lap times here, about as short as they were at the Barber Motorsport Park. Now let's see Ian Card taking the chicanes very well indeed. Coming into the second to last corner, the 90-degree left-hander, and then a short run towards the hairpin. As Tapani said, the only real hairpin on this track. Also a decent passing opportunity as Gernot Fritsch takes the 3rd place from out of the picture. So Ian Card in the last corner, sliding a little bit on the entry, 10 on the power to the exit. Car is squirreling around a little bit, but Ian Card takes control now. Can he improve? 1:11.842, so he does improve and takes P number 14, so not quite enough to get himself into the top 10, but still a very decent lap indeed. Now let's jump on board with Mr. Gernot Fritsch, the 12-time champion, the Austrian Superman, as he is looking to establish himself as one of the top contenders again. He was well with the pace of Joni Beckman and Joni Takanen at Spa-Francorchamps, but then an incident at lap number 3 took him out of the contention and took him to a lowly mid-10s finish. Now Gernot Fritsch is looking to improve on that. He is looking to get back into the top step of the podium, where at least in his mind and in other people's mind he belongs to. But the competition, that is stiff and that is hard. So the last corner, if Gernot Fritsch nails this one, then he has a chance at the pole position. He has to improve by 1.5 tenths to beat Mr. Joni Takanen. Can he do it? No, he can't. 1:11.2.
I think he lost in the S section in the beginning of the track. It looked a bit off.
Indeed, so, and I think that is our field set because we have no longer drivers on their fast laps. So I would say Joni Takanen takes the pole position once again here at Twin Ring Motegi East layout, joined in the front row by David Martinez. Only 200 of a second separating these two. Then in the 3rd place, it is Gernot Fritsch. With him on the 2nd row is Victor Rodriguez, then the 3rd row, Sergio Macias and Juha Norolampi. Very good qualifying from those two as well. Alex Milward and Mathieu Wood in P number 7 and 8. Row 5, Michael van den Berg and Colin Penny. Row 6, Mark Pickford and Teemu Valkejärvi. Row 7, Fabian Gerber and Ian Card. A lot of experience in there. Row number 8, Philip Lake and Tobias Gerber. Row number 9, Joonas Nukarinen and Edward van Velsen. Row number 10, Barry West and Gerd Hofer. Gorgenet, Travis Walling, Clifton Cockrell, Mark Montana and Victor Lobato Lopez. Rounding out your 21 driver field here at Twin Ring Motegi and Tapani. Quite an interesting qualifying session. Some drivers perhaps a little bit higher than I expected and some drivers a lot lower.
Yeah, well, it's quite tight in the lead. Top 5 are very, very close. We saw 4 laps between the top 2 positions within half a tenth, all 4 laps. So it's really close. It's interesting to see if we will see many passes or how difficult it will be. It's going to be interesting. The differences in pace don't seem very large. It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. What I'm interested in, and I would like you to chime in on this as well, is that I think the key difference here, the key point here is that it's a track where it's very difficult to pass in, as was Bob. So Takanen's pace, if David Martinez and Gernot Fritsch can match it, who else can match it, and where will be the drop-off? I think we'll see a lead pack here forming, but where do you think will be the drop-off from the lead pack? Who will be the first driver, or who will be the drivers who can hold on to Joni Takanen, if any?
Well, Martinez has been looking very good earlier weeks. Of course, you shouldn't count Gernot out either. So Sergio Macias, fifth. He's looking to improve. Yeah, top 5, top 6 looks quite close. I hope they will be clean in the turn 2 to turn 5 section. It's going to be tight if they go too wide.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll see another Spa.
Well, actually, I don't know what happened there at all.
Oh, well, yeah, you were doing shaman stuff in the woods. Well, we had perhaps the best race I have ever seen. At least the best sim race I have ever seen at Spa-Francorchamps. Mostly between Joni Beckman and Joni Takanen, as they were going too wide pretty much everywhere on the track, as we have the cars already on the grid. Joni Takanen sitting in the pole position like a man who belongs there. David Martinez looking to challenge him alongside him. Then it's Gernot Fritsch, Victor Rodriguez, Sergio Macias. Who will be the man who takes the win here after 35 laps at Twin Ring Motegi? The cars are revving, and we are soon underway for round 6 of the season. The lights are out, and we are on the way. Joni Takanen taking a good start from the pole position. David Martin is very loose, and he's already challenged by 2 cars on both sides. Gernot Fritsch looking to the outside, and Victor Rodriguez looking to the inside, but he backed off at the last second. Gernot Fritsch versus David Martinez in the first corner, and it is Martinez who takes the second position for now. Gernot Fritsch unable to follow on the outside. Then we come to the twisty bits of the track, and I think there's a crash in the back. There must have been a crash on the back. Yes, there is at least Gorchenet, I think, involving that one, as is many other cars. We had a bump, and Michael van den Berg is around, and so is a couple of other drivers, and that's a very terrible thing indeed. Ian Card getting caught in that, as is Teemu Valkeajärvi, as is the teammate of Gernot Fritsch, who is of course Gerd Herfer, many other cars involved in that one as well. So already a bit of drama here at lap number 1.
Yeah, that was a very nasty accordion effect. I don't think there was much people could do to avoid that after it got rolling. We'll see the replay afterwards.
Yeah, we'll see the replay later as we have the race order established later on in this race. Many tough drivers already out of contention in that one, including Teemu Valkeajärvi, including Ian Card, including Gerd Hofer, and also including Joonas Nukarinen as well, who has already been forced to retire from this race. Teemu Valkeajärvi still soldiering on, but with a damaged car. So let's see. Let's see here, Michael van den Berg also out of contention as well. We should not forget him as well. He had a very unlucky race at Spa-Francorchamps, where he was caught in a lap 1 mayhem at the bus stop chicane, and also then later on caught in a little bit of a mishap by Johan Lampi, and also Barry West has just passed another driver here, and that is Gerd Hofer. So swap positions at place 18 and place number 19. Both cars are a little bit damaged, and Gerd Hofer looking to the outside to claim his position back, and he runs wide. Barry West runs wide, and as a result of that, Gerd Hofer takes the position back. There's also a good battle ahead of them between Victor Lobato Lopez and Gorchenet in the outskirts of your top 10 at P number 16 and 17. Victor Lobato Lopez has taken that position and is looking to run away with it. Meanwhile, back in your race lead, it is Joni Takanen, followed by David Martinez, followed by Gernot Fritsch, followed by Victor Rodriguez, Sergio Macias, and Johan Lampi. Mathieu Wood involved in that one, as well as is Alex Milberg and Colin Penny. So top 9 cars are forming a little bit of a breakaway. Then Fabian Gerber, already well up from his starting position. He started at 13th, is now sitting at the 10th place, followed by Philip Lake, who started 15th, is now 11th. So those were the 2 drivers, most importantly, who got through that lap 1 start crash, and they are now looking to make hay while the sun shines, and it will be shining all day long for them here at Japan at Motegi circuit. So, Tapani, now that you look at this situation, Joni Takanen is starting to put the fast laps in. 1:11.6 last time by 0.2 of a second faster than David Martinez, but crucially, the same lap time than Gernot Fritsch. What will you think as the race goes on? Any early predictions? What will happen here?
Well, we'll have to see how it turns out. It looks the gaps are not very close. They have been stretched out a little, so we'll have to see how the situation develops. If David Martinez can keep close enough to Joni to actually do something at some point.
And side by side between Tobias Gerber and Edvard von Velsen in the last corner. Tobias Gerber defending his position, Edvard von Velsen attacking, and von Velsen goes through on the inside with a nice clean move against Tobias Gerber and takes the 14th position away from him. So we can drop you there, Tapani. We will be also looking to bring a replay to your screens as requested. Okay, we saw the replay just now. Excuse me, had a little bit of a miscommunication with our director there. So, yes, you saw the incident there. And we have now Tobias Gerber on your screens as we speak. And I'm looking at Johanna Lampi also in P number 6, and he's already a little bit sideways. He has dropped a little bit back from Victor Rodriguez and Sergio Macias, the teammates at Coppesucar Fittipaldi Racing. They are very close to each other, the two yellow cars. Usually seen in the top end of the field, and this race is no exception. They are in P number 4 and P number 5 currently, trying to follow Gernot Fritsch. Last time by Gernot Fritsch did a 1:11.860, Victor Rodriguez 1:11.850, and Sergio Macias 1:11.7. So Macias is almost on the pace with the leaders of this race, but not quite, because Takanen last time by 1:11.3 put another 3/10 against David Martinez for the race lead. Gernot Fritsch also unable to follow their pace, as was Victor Rodriguez, as was Sergio Macias, as was Johanna Lampi as well. So Takanen truly here the class of the field here tonight, at least in the early goings of this race. But how long will it last? Will it last to the entire race, just like in Suzuka? Or will he have some sort of a mishap? Mark Montana also back on the track and looking to be lapped by Joni Takanen soon enough. Mark Montana, of course, caught up in that lap number 1 incident as well, but good for him. He has came back to the track, trying to salvage what he can, get some running time and getting used to this car, but he's a lot slower right now than Joni Takanen, as is expected with a damaged car. So we will have to see how Joni Takanen navigates through this situation. And Tapani, it can be a little bit treacherous when you have someone with a damaged car ahead of you and you don't quite know what they're doing.
Well, it went quite well now. Joni was just waiting for to go to the inside in the exit, so, and happily the pit lane was just there afterwards. But it can happen. It's hard to read when you catch up someone very quickly. It's very hard to read the speed differences, and sometimes that can catch you out if you're not careful. But of course you always have to be careful in those situations.
Yes, and two wide action also going into turn number 1. Edvard von Velsen and Victor Lobato Lopez. Lopez already got the position in the last corner, but Edvard von Velsen coming back in the first corner. Now in the second corner, tight stuff, and they touch. And Lobato Lopez goes a little bit out, but both managed to keep it going. And Tobias Gerber goes around the outside, goes through at least Edvard von Velsen, also trying to go through Victor Lobato Lopez, but not quite able to make it work. Let's see as they come to turn number 6. Who will it be? Tobias Gerber or Edvard Lobato Lopez? It's Lopez on the inside who just manages to hold on. Gerber getting a little bit compromised on his exit, and as a result of that can't quite go through his opponent, but some good racing here. A little bit of drama, a little bit of touching between those guys, but they can keep it going on the track. And Lopez goes wide. Lopez goes very wide indeed, and Tobias Gerber manages to go through briefly on the outside and then gets his position snatched away again by Victor Lobato Lopez. So he's showing to be someone who is looking to make it to the front of the field. This new driver from the Iberian region, I would hazard a guess from Spain. There is also a battle going on behind him. Edvard von Velsen having to concede his position briefly to Gerhard Herfer, then looking to strike back on the outside into turn number 1. So this Lotus 49 driver from the Grand Prix Legends Series is looking to make hay while the sun shines in the Classic Lotus Grand Prix Series as well. looking to make an impact on a new series, and so far his racecraft is at least showing to be very good indeed. He manages through this battle once again very well, too wide through these difficult corners. Edward having to lose a position here, but he manages to at least keep going momentarily. Oh, going very sideways indeed, and manages to keep it under control. Gord Jeanette also challenging them, so it's Gerd Hofer, Edward Movelsen and Gord Jeanette involved in the battle. Clifton Cockrell looking to join in soon as well, and this is for position number 16 on the track, so some good battles already going on at the mid-factory race.
Sorry, Joonas. Colin Penny spun on the going under the bridge and it just hit the wall slightly.
Yeah, he has damage at least on the back end of his car as well as the front end. We can see the wing a little bit bent, both of the wings a little bit bent, and he gets passed by Victor Lobato Lopez. And what happened here?
He was spun just coming out of the corner.
Oh, okay, so basically a driver mistake from Colin Penny, a momentary lapse of concentration perhaps, and that cost him 5 positions as he is now relegated to position number 14 and getting involved in this battle as well. Maybe he heard that there is some good screen time on display if he would just if he would just drop a few positions. A request from the sponsors perhaps. Okay, let's not go there. Anyway, he's looking to now get his rhythm back in this race, and there's also in front of them there is a good pack between Fabian Gerber, Philip Lake and Mark Pickford, and this is something I'm quite interested in. Mark Pickford was quite slow on the first lap. I thought he was already out of contention, but that was not the case. In fact, the experienced veteran driver, also from England, is looking to get back into the top 10 and is having some very tough company indeed. Philip Lake, another driver I will watch out for, is just within the top 10 ahead of him. Then is Fabian Gerber, Alex Milward, Matthew Wood and Johan Lampi in that pack. So there's a good pack from P number 6 all the way to P number 11 to Mark Pickford, and a lot of experience in that pack. I would say the only new driver to this series is Alex Milward, and he's not exactly a spring chicken anymore as well. And now this battle will be quite interesting to follow indeed. So talking about these drivers, Tapani, just who would you pick out of this race that viewers perhaps don't know much about, but they should?
Well, David Martinez, of course, running second. He's quite a new face, having shown his pace previously, of course. Others, well, we haven't seen Teemu Valkeajärvi that many times. He's running quite decently in P12.
Yeah, and Teemu Valkeajärvi also involved in the lap 1 collision as well, and that will hinder his chances. But Teemu Valkeajärvi, he's someone who I wanted to talk about. We heard from him last week at Spa, a post-race interview briefly about him, and he was comparing the differences between a modern-day Formula 1 car and the Lotus 79 that we are running here. And he mentioned that in this car, whereas in modern Formula 1, you have to be conscious about saving fuel, saving tires. You're all the time making little bit compromises. Some little compromises to your race pace, whereas with the Lotus 79 you just have to go flat out all the time, and he mentioned that as one big difference. Do you agree with him?
Oh yes, yeah, you can't let go with this car. You just have to push it all the time, get everything out of the tires and car all the time. You're free to choose any fuel load you want. The tires last very well. They're very hard bias collide slick tires, so it's mainly about putting those lap times to work.
And driving absolutely flat out, as we are seeing by Mathieu Wood and Alex Milward. Milward now challenging Mathieu Wood to the second to last corner. Fabian Gerber also involved in that battle, so it's a 3-car pack all of a sudden, as Alex Milward, the Englishman, is looking to put a challenge on Mathieu Wood, who is of course another Englishman. So the Battle of Britain, which was between Britain and Germany, is now raging as more this sort of a civil war between Mathieu Wood and Alex Milward. These drivers looking to battle for the British supremacy, as they are the 2 highest placed British drivers in this race. So Mathieu Wood currently still holding on to the 7th position, but Alex Milward is trying to challenge him into each and every corner, just biding his time and biding his chance. We saw him already following a very close in draft, but just unable to find that overtaking spot, perhaps trying to force Mathieu Wood into a little bit of a mistake and then just go through on the inside like nothing ever happened. But he has to be aware of Fabian Gerber in his mirrors. The Swiss driver Fabian Gerber, we saw an excellent performance from him last week at Spa. Now he is looking to continue in there as well, and Fabian is someone who in these broadcast races I've been a little bit disappointed about most of the time, because I know him as a fast driver. When I initially was acquainted with this series, I saw Fabian Gerber as one of the top drivers. I was mentioning him in the same breath as Prix, as Tapani Linnaluoto, as Kalle Ruokala, as Antti Lepistö and those other fast guys. I knew Fabian Gerber was on top of the or very near the timesheets each and every time, but now as the seasons progress, as time has passed, we are a year since and Fabian Gerber has been a little bit reduced to the back end of the top 10, but still running very well. We saw what he's capable of last week. Now let's see if we get going on, and Colin Penny having a very difficult situation for himself coming into the last corner. He slowed down, I don't know why, but he is getting passed by a bunch of cars, and there's a good battle now going on between Van Velsen and Gerber. Van Velsen backing out at the last second. Gorchenet also involved in the battle, as is Gerd Hofer, so there's some tight racing going in this pack. So we might just follow this pack for a little bit longer than we originally intended, because this is some good racing at lap number 12. Gerd Hofer, Tobias Gerber, Edward Van Velsen and Gorchenet, as well as Colin Penny now back in the pack. Clifton Cockrell trying to challenge them, trying to follow them, but not quite able to get into the pack. Now Edward Wilson having a good run against Tobias Gerber, trying on the outside into turn number 6. Let's see if he can make it work under the bridge. And I'm sliding a little bit wide, sliding a little bit too wide to make it work, and he's being challenged by Gorchenet now, but Gord having to back off at the last second, realizing that he is going to run out of space, run out of room. But Tobias Gerber looking to be very slow on the straight line. Perhaps, and I think mostly due to the damage on his car. So he's having a very difficult time to defend, because in these straight lines, other people are getting very good runs on him, getting constant overtaking chances. And Tapani, that is something you can't really practice with how to drive with a damaged car. So you just have to know.
Yeah, well, it's mostly up to your basic car control skills, not much more. I'd like to come back to the differences between modern cars and this one. Just shortly, one of the differences is that the car is just moving around all the time, moving beneath you. It's mostly due to tires. I suppose the bias glide tires, they give a more slip angle than modern radial tires. And that makes the car pretty difficult to drive. It slips and slides easily, but it's very controllable and very gives it the characteristic style and vintage. It's very nice to drive.
It is very nice to drive. I like the car because exactly that, the tires allow for a little bit of slip angle, so you can go a little bit sideways, and as we mentioned so many times before, it's dancing on the edge. But don't for 1 second confuse waltz and tango, because tango is kind of like driving a slower car, kind of like driving something, I would say a skip barber. That's like tango. You're taking slow steps, you make sure you make the right steps. This is like fiery Latin American tango. This is like salsa. This is exotic hot dancing, and we are seeing these dancers, these artists perform it at its best as Van Velsen goes alongside Tobias Gerber into turn number 1. Let's see if Van Velsen can take his partner to the tango. Yes, he can, a little bit sideways out of the corner and going through. Perhaps he heard the tango reference. Perhaps he heard that, oh, right, these tires, they allow for a slip angle. Let's try it out, and Van Velsen does and goes through Gorchenet into turn number 1. Tobias Gerber also spun. Exiting that corner, so let's see what happened here. Oh, he just had to avoid the other drivers, going over the top of the curb and bottoming out, and a very strange incident there indeed, going headfirst into the wall at very slow speed, trying to get back on the track, and he does, but he is now back on the pit lane. So I think that's sadly race over for the other Swissman, Tobias Gerber, who is of course the brother of Fabian Gerber. And Tapani, can you shine any light on that incident?
Well, it seemed he went on the curb. I don't think there was a contact, which caused him to turn left towards the wall. But I'm not sure. Maybe the grass just subtracted him or something. It's hard to say.
Hard to say between those incidents. It looked very strange to me. Certainly, that's the case. very strange, as Motegi Wood is still holding on to that 7th place. He has Alex Milward behind him. He also has Fabian Gerber and Philip Lake and Mark Pickford soon looking to join that battle as well. I'm looking at the last lap times. Motegi Wood 112.4, Alex Milward 112.3, Gerber 112.5, then Philip Lake 112.7 and Mark Pickford 112.4. So they are all within the same time range. There's a little bit of a gap forming now between Philip Lake and Fabian Gerber for the 9th position, but other than that I would say this is still a 5-car pack. Now this is I think a waiting game. We have one of the longest races of the season here, 35 laps at Twin Ring Motegi. The race length will be around 50 minutes in total. That's longer than usual. Now how does that affect the preparation when you know that you have that little bit of an extra time and you are used to 40 to 45 minute races? Now you have 50 minutes. It's just 5 to 10 minutes of extra, but does it realistically have any effect, and if so, what kind?
No, I don't suppose it will have much. Maybe Juhan Orolampi won't be too happy about it, but other than that, I don't think. It's a few minutes here and there. It's not much. The tires last well and so on.
Yeah, they do, and you have enough space in the fuel tank to go for another 45 minutes if you insist. So, speaking of Juhan Orolampi, he's now in the 6th place. He's 4 seconds behind Sergio Macias, putting in solid 112.1, slow 112s at the last few laps. Ahead of him, we have Sergio Macias with a 111.6. Let's see an updated lap. Still a 111.6. Rodriguez with a 11.9. Gernot Fritsch with a 11.7. Then there is a huge gap between Gernot Fritsch and David Martinez, and this is a tight one because David Martinez, after losing some time early on against Joni Takanen, is now clawing his way back. Is catching back up to Joni Takanen. Last time by he was 3/10 of a second slower, but he has been getting 1 and 2 tenths each and every lap before that, and the gap is right now between them is 8/10 of a second, so we have still a lead battle going on. Now the gap between Martinez and Fritsch for the 2nd place is 7.4 seconds as it stands, but ahead of him, there is not much space at all, so Takanen versus Martinez. And this is something I'm quite interested in. Both are new drivers to the series. Both have showed to be exceptionally fast on this car, but we haven't seen a real showdown between them until now. So, comparing these drivers, Joni Takanen, you know him quite well. David Martinez might be a little bit of a fresher face, but from what you have seen, I think you mentioned a couple of weeks had gone by. I think it was week number 4 when you mentioned at Oldham Park that David Martinez has a very similar driving style than Joni Takanen. Do you still hold on to that comment?
Well, they both are excellent in general car control. They can put the car where they want. They don't seem to make big mistakes. If they do, they can correct it very quickly. I'm not sure if there are other great differences that I can't make out at the moment. But in general, they're quite similar in the car control style.
Indeed, so, and also just informed is an update from the mid-pack battle. It seems to me that Fabian Gerber has lost a couple of seconds against Alex Milward and Motegi Wood, and he is now being caught up by both Philip Lake and Mark Pickford. And this is quite interesting because now it's Fabian Gerber, the Swissman, in a real British sandwich. You have 2 British drivers ahead of him, you have 2 British drivers before him, and then you have Fabian Gerber all alone, the neutral Swissman, in position number 9. Now, countries don't usually play a big role in a motor race. You just drive against other drivers just like you would drive against everyone else. But this is quite a curious situation to me. And I'm also interested in seeing the result of this battle for position number 7 just ahead of him. We can follow it on the same pack. It is Alex Milward against Motegi Wood. Now, we mentioned at the start of this season that Alex Milward is slowly taking the cape of Britain's top talent, the hope of England, so to speak, from the shoulders of Ian Card. But the rise and the resurgence of Motegi Wood is something that's quite surprising because I'm used to seeing Motegi Wood at the bottom end of the top 10, perhaps around position number 14, 15, but he's right now in P number 7, and he drives like he belongs in that position number 7, and he's really making a solid race from himself. He did a good qualifying, started P number 8, has gotten one position as a result of that start crash mostly, but Motegi Wood is driving a solid race. Now, compared to the last few weeks, he has certainly improved. But he's also, as I mentioned in the case of Alex Milward as well, Motegi Wood is certainly no spring chicken. So, in the case of an experienced driver, what can suddenly prompt such an improvement in pace in the space of 1 week?
Practice.
I like it. Mathematician's answer.
Well, you learn mathematics by practice as well. There's no trick to it.
I never learned maths.
Usually, if you know the car, if you know you have the tools to improve yourself, then it's more about the seat time. But of course, if you haven't learned those tools, are not familiar with the car, then it can be difficult to find the pace, even with putting lots of laps in. So it's always interesting to see the relative differences.
Oh, Motegi Wood and Alex Milward are still having a good competition here. Milward just got by earlier on. Now Motegi Wood got back by on the second to last corner, so interrupted her. And Philip Blake has crashed out as well. Philip Blake had an incident in the second to last corner, getting a little bit sideways, I think on the exit. Yeah, he got a little bit sideways, some sort of an issue there. Went nose first into the wall, thankfully no heavy damage. But the front wing is quite a bit bent, and that will ruin surely his chances of ever rejoining that battle. He only lost a couple of positions due to the gaps being so large behind him. But Philip Blake has now a mountain to climb if he ever wants to get back into this battle, and as a result of that, Motegi Wood is still in the 7th place, Alex Milward is still 8, Fabian Gerber is still 9. Now there's Ian Card between them in this British sandwich, getting passed by Mark Pickford, actually getting lapped again by Mark Pickford, and now it's Teemu Valkejärvi in the 11th place. And as a result of all that battling, I think there's a good chance that if they keep going, if they keep this battle going, Teemu Valkejärvi could join this one sooner rather than later. He has about 5 seconds still to climb. He's a fast driver, but also suffering from the damage. And how frustrating it is for someone like Teemu Valkejärvi to know that he might be a little bit faster had he not been caught up in that lap 1 collision. And he knows that there is a battle forming ahead of him. So must be thinking kind of like, you know, if I only had a good car, if I only had a good car.
I'm not seeing any damage on this car.
Well, he was caught up in that incident at lap number 1, the front end of the car. Yeah, there is no visible damage. I was wondering about that one as well.
He didn't hit anyone in that incident. He swerved out of the track against the wall, didn't touch it, and got on with it.
Oh, okay. I was looking. It looked to me like he was touching somebody.
Oh, it was very close.
Ah, okay. So Teemu actually has no damage, so he has no excuse.
Well, he's lapping just a decent low 12s. I guess that's his pace for today.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, he's a new driver, so I think he'll get faster with more seat time, as he mentioned last week himself as well. I like Valkejärvi's potential, especially when it comes to open wheel race cars. Ex-FSR driver from our factor almost made it to iRacing Pro as well in his first Formula 1 season, just missing out due to other commitments. So he is someone who has a lot of potential, but has quite failed to show it where it counts just yet. Let's see if that changes as he gets more seat time, gets himself more acquainted with these cars. Also, another interesting situation is for P number 3 between Gernot Fritsch, Victor Rodriguez and Sergio Macias. Now, Gernot Fritsch lost a lot of time lapping another car, and Victor Rodriguez goes to the outside into turn number 6. Let's see if he can get through brakes very late and going a little bit wide on the exit. Still manages to hold on sideways. Oh, beautiful drifter from Victor Rodriguez, and as a result of that, he can still challenge Gernot Fritsch as they go into the left-right chicane. Victor Rodriguez on the inside to the first bar. Gernot on the outside, and Gernot just lifts off a little bit, allowing Victor Rodriguez to take position, and I think that one deserves a round of applause. Sergio Macias also trying to follow his teammates' example and get through Gernot Ridge as soon as possible. Remember, this is for position number 3, so these are important positions, but wow, what a pass by Victor Rodriguez, even if a bit opportunistic.
I'm just checking the my replay. How much Gernot was slowed down. Let me see. Oh yeah, he had to get off the racing line for a moment. Well, that can happen. It's racing. There's nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong done.
No, not at all.
Gernot just was on the losing side this time.
Yeah, and he lost a lot of time there due to the passing move. And now Victor Rodriguez, who had been in fairness to him, he had caught up Gernot Ridge all by himself. We were looking at the situation as it was developing, as Victor Rodriguez was catching up little by little to Gernot Ridge, to the lead that Gernot Ridge had on him. But then became the overtake, and then became the pass on Gernot Ridge as well. First the lapper and then the overtake, but it was a beautifully executed maneuver. And I think that goes to show you that even if aided a little bit by lap car, you can certainly race on this track and you can go side by side. Now, Twin Ring Motegi East layout, using this East, the shorter layout as opposed to the full layout, it's been a choice that's been criticized somewhat by some of the drivers. Some like it, some hate it. There seems to be no real middle ground here. However, we are seeing 50 drivers almost sign up for the race, of which 25 are in the top split. So I think it goes to show you that these drivers, despite their initial likes and dislikes, are willing to race anything. Now, what will be some of the other lesser used layouts that you would like to see as a part of this Classic Lotus Grand Prix series?
Oh, that's a hard one. I was just wondering if you have driven the normal boot layout of the Watkins Glen, which is coming in 2 weeks in the classic form without the bus stop chicane. It's a different one, and classic layout suits this car extremely well, but I'm the devil's advocate always in these matters, so I would like to see once in a while other layouts, and I think I am let's see, I think Takana was.
Yeah, he was overtaking, lapping Barry West on the last corner, and Barry West was just avoiding him to the inside, and then I think the issue that Takanen had with that one was that Barry West was still on the inside at the exit of the corner, I think, or Barry was just trying to hold on to the inside. To be honest, I'm not sure what the issue was there. I think Takanen wanted him to lift off completely before the corner, and Barry West just trying to keep himself out of the way of the both drivers, but Takanen lost a little bit of time in that passing maneuver. David Martinez has caught him a little bit up, so the gap is right now 0.7 of a second between them, and we know that these drivers, when under extreme pressure, like Takanen is here, he has not made up such a gap that we expected perhaps at the start of this race. It has not been an easy ride for him, even if he has led all 25 laps so far, and as a result of that, and he might be a little bit frustrated right now. And Sergio Macias also trying to pass Gernot Ridge, but not quite able to make it work. And we are seeing an unusual amount of mistakes from Gernot Ridge in this race. He made a little bit of a mistake here, and has made some mistakes in the past few weeks. I remember in Oldham Park when he spun out the track, got a little bit loose, and spun out in the last lap of the race. Now, this is something I wanted to talk about. When somebody like Gernot Ridge starts to make mistakes, do you think the pressure that is emanating from these new drivers, when Gernot realizes that he is not alone on top of the mountain anymore, do you think it gets to him even a little?
Well, it can be a bit frustrating, especially if you want to be there but you don't have the time to practice, or other real-life obligations prevent you to put the effort in, or if you put the effort in and you still can't manage it, and that can be frustrating as well.
It can make you lose hope in yourself. That affects your confidence. I mean, if you have like a week, and if you have like a week to practice, as we're following the Millward and Mathieu Wood around, Millward once again right on the tailpipes of Mathieu Wood. Of course, Alex Milward, Mathieu Wood. We've been following this battle all race long, and we will do so once again while keeping a close eye on development in the battle for P number 3 as well. But anyway, if you have like a week to practice and you know that you clocked in exactly the same hours, oh, Milward tries to the inside, very late move there, just trying to perhaps force Mathieu Wood out of his game to make him make a little bit of a mistake. He's soon running out of laps here. But yeah, if you have 1 week to practice and you know the other guy has practiced at least as little, perhaps even less than you, and he's still going fast, and there is nothing you can do about it. You can't find any pace from anywhere. You kind of start to lose confidence, you kind of start to lose hope, because there are two kinds of drivers. There's the guy who I think Joni Takanen is an example of, who sees the top lap time of the week or in a session, and that is his goal, that is his target. Then there are guys who make it have a little bit more of a humble approach. They race more against themselves, whereas Takanen races more against other drivers, and this is where the difference plays out, I think. Some drivers may have this situation where they cannot match another driver no matter what they do, and it can be a very difficult case to get out of. Do you think Gernot might be suffering from a little bit, even a little bit of a case of lost confidence, as unbelievable as it sounds?
Well, we would have to ask him, but it's hard to believe that's the case.
Might be, and he's a very experienced driver and multiple-time champion, so he knows how to win too. And Martinez, David Martinez in the second place was already half a second behind Joni Takanen briefly there. Now he's 6/10 behind, and they are well within the same picture. We're at lap number 29 here, so 6 laps to go as they come across the line. And they are also navigating their way through a bunch of lapped cars. They have Ian Card coming up next, who will surely get out of the way just very quickly. Mark Montana and Gorchinet as well coming up next time by. So Joni Takanen and Dave Martinez, they are battling each other, but they are also having the issue with a couple of lapped cars, which can be sometimes frustrating in a shorter track like this, where you have many laps, where the gaps can rise. So managing the lap traffic in a situation not like this, where Ian Card seems to be getting out of the way nicely, if you have someone who is just following their line, which they are perfectly entitled to do. What are the most important things to keep in mind when navigating traffic?
Well, you have to find the drive accordingly, find the place to pass, and not let the guy behind pass you. Of course, it's obvious when I say that, but how you do it, it's not obvious. It takes lots of experience to do it well. Often multi-class races help to get into the mindset of slower traffic coming up if you race the faster classes. And yeah, experience and quick mind and ability to calculate risk from possible moves ahead of time.
Risk and reward calculations and so on and so forth. That is indeed. And probability outcomes. I think it's constant probability calculations when you are battling. And also good battling going on for the third place. Oh, Gernot makes a mistake. Again, exiting the second to last corner. Now Macias is right behind him. Gernot forced to defend here. Macias goes to the outside. Let's see if he can make it work around the outside. That's a long way around and not able to make it work in the corners, and also not quite able to make a good exit there. Getting a decent run, but not quite good enough for a run. Let's see if he tries to the inside here. It has to be a late move. If he tries to the inside of Gernot, he will. Gernot didn't defend enough now. They are both very tight going in the downhill corner and just able to make it through. That was an imminent collision there. Had it not been Gernot, Rich and Sergio Macias battling for position there, I think between most drivers that would have been a collision. But Sergio Macias and Gernot Rich able to make it work, and crucially for the development of this race, Gernot Rich able to hold on to the fourth place. But this is allowing Victor Rodriguez to run away just a little bit. He has the lapped cars to navigate through, but it is always, I think, a little bit easier to navigate lapped cars by yourself rather than in traffic.
I'm not sure if that was a smart or crazy move by Gernot, keeping Sergio so close inside, keeping the gap close.
Yep, he does keep the gap close, and he also does does prevent Sergio Macias from going through. I think he knew that Sergio will back out of it, will have to back out of it. Surely even Sergio Macias will not go into that gap. And I'm saying that in kind words, even a past champion will not go into that gap because it was very tight and there was no way he could have get the car turned in time. And it's a downhill corner, the first corner, so it can be more difficult than it seems to pass on the inside turn.
Yeah, well, the braking may not be the easiest, but
and it's not the easiest, but it can get done. So Gorchinet and Philip Lake are battling meanwhile for position number 14. So this is a good one as well. Philip Lake has a little bit of damage, remember, on the front of his car, and Gorchinet has now caught him up, and 10 is looking to get through to him. He has also some minor damage on the left side of the front wing, but this might be something that develops later on in this race. But for now, it seems like for the foreseeable future, Philip Lake can hold on to it, but you can see the difference in their straight line speeds as Gorchinet gets draft once again. He's a lot faster to the end of the straight and forcing Philip Lake to defend to each and every corner.
Sorry, I'm just watching the P3 battle.
No worries, update please.
It's quite something. Gernot had a run on Victor, but Victor kept the inside close, and Gernot didn't choose to go to the outside in the previous lap. So it's very interesting, and it's not dirty, but it's very defensive. And
Macias goes wide.
Goes very wide. It's very easy to go wide there. It's a very difficult exit.
Yes, and we see Barry West just holding on to the inside at turn number 6 again, and Gernot Fritz just going through on the outside. Now Macias, yeah, he goes to the outside as well. And now they don't have much laps left. They have only 2 laps left in this battle. It looks to me right now that Victor Rodriguez is in the prime position to hold on to that position. So realistically, looking at the weapons both of the drivers have, what can Gernot Fritz do here to fool Victor Rodriguez into a mistake?
Well, you have to keep your car close and hope the other guy does something wrong.
As Gertrude
just show
manages
yourself
to just,
in the mirrors, keep close, hope for the mistake.
And we just saw an overtaking move between Gorchinet and Philip Lake as well. Gorchinet getting through on the main straight, and there is also some good battle going on between Matthew Wood and Alex Milward, I think. No, they are still between each other, very close to each other. So many battles going on that it's hard to keep track of. But we are soon coming to the last lap of this race. And the gap between, I'm just checking, the gap between Joni Takanen and David Martinez is 0.8 of a second. So unless Takanen makes a major mistake, I think he can spray some champagne tonight. It's not all said and done until it's all said and done, but let's follow this battle for position number 3 briefly, then get back to a race winner as this lap is over, because they're coming to the white flag. Takanen already took the white flag, followed by David Martinez 1 second behind him. Then wait some 20 seconds and it's Rodriguez, Fritsch and Macias coming to the last lap of this race for position number 3. Macias goes very wide once again on the exit of the last corner, unable to get a good run against Gernot Fritsch. Victor Rodriguez is a little bit ahead of Fritsch right now, losing 1/10 of a second in the latest lap. Now, Victor Rodriguez has just one more lap to hold on against Gernot Fritsch. Gernot Fritsch, who is always the man to beat in the series. Everyone goes into the series, and from what they've heard before, even though that might not be strictly the case anymore, Gernot Fritsch has been historically the man to beat. So when you have beaten Gernot Fritsch in a race, you know that you got it made. Now Victor Rodriguez looking to do exactly that as they come to the last corners. However, I don't think Fritsch is quite close enough to challenge him, nor is Macias close enough to challenge Fritsch. Meanwhile, back in the race lead, they're just coming to the last corner. Joni Takanen coming to the home straight to win round number 6 here at Twin Ring Motegi. The East layout plays home to the 3rd victory of the season for Mr. Takanen in these broadcast races. Taking the fastest lap of the race, or not taking actually the fastest lap of the race in the last lap. David Martinez a little bit faster. Martinez coming home in the 2nd place. Then who will be 3rd? It will be, I think, Victor Rodriguez. Yes, it is. Victor Rodriguez in the yellow Copper Soccer Fittipaldi car. coming home in the third place to claim the final podium position just ahead of Gernot Fritsch and Sergio Macias. So the three Spanish drivers in top 5 made an excellent display on themselves. Then Johanna Lampi, quiet race for him, coming home in 6th. And Mathieu Wood in the 7th place manages to hold on the attacks of Alex Milward throughout the entire race, who comes home in 8th. Fabian Gerber 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Mark Pickford, unable to just climb up from the difficult early goings of this race to claim a top 10 in this race, something he will surely be very happy about indeed. Teemu Valkjärvi 11th, and Victor Lobato Lopez in 12th place. We will be waiting for a while. Gerd Hofer coming home 13th. Then in the 14th place, already having come across the finishing line, one lap down, Gorchinet, then Edward Wilson, Philip Lake, Colin Benny, Barry West, Clifton Cockrell, and Travis Walling. Mark Montaner as well managing to finish the race, as is Ian Card. And the retirees from this race, Tobias Gerber, Michael Vandenberg, and Joonas Nukarinen. So a lot of very good drivers out of this race. And going through your top 10 once again, Joni Takanen manages to win here at Motegi ahead of David Martinez, Victor Rodriguez 3rd, Gernot Fritsch, Sergio Macias, Johanna Lampi, Mathieu Wood, Alex Milward, Fabian Gerber, and Mark Pickford rounding out your top 10. And Tapani, not quite the race I expected from Motegi. I expected to be a little bit more of a procession kind of race, but we saw some surprisingly good battling here.
Oh, it was the kind of track that if you don't make mistake like Joni Takanen and David Martinez, you just follow the other guy. But if you, it's easy to make mistakes here, and if you make a small mistake and the driver behind takes advantage, then it can escalate and lots of things can happen. So it's difficult technical track and difficult to pass, but seemingly not impossible.
Yep, and what I'm interested about looking at the final results is who I would like to bring up, aside from David Martinez, who had another excellent race to himself. I would like to bring up the gap between Takanen, Martinez, and then the second pack. Yes, they were battling in the other pack, but you look at the gaps. Takanen won by a second ahead of David Martinez. Then it's 21 seconds between David Martinez and Victor Rodriguez. And all of them, once again, within the space of 1 second. What does that tell you?
Well, the top 2 drivers were in their own class. They improved the pace throughout the race, while it seems to me with the quick look that Victor Rodriguez and the others were kind of stuck in the pace they found in the beginning, which usually tells that maybe there is something in the driving or setup, because you really want that time to improve, and it should improve throughout the race. So but it's not always easy to find. It's very subtle, and
I think we have a replay coming up for the lap number 1 collision as well. If you could talk us through that briefly, that will be just fabulous.
Could we see it from Teemu Valkjärvi's point of view?
Just replay coming up briefly. We will see it from, as per Tapani's request, Teemu Valkjärvi's point of view. So just after the start, talks through it, Tapani.
Sorry, where are we going right now?
Coming into turn number 1, Teemu Valkjärvi's view, but we just saw it now.
Well, Teemu just there was the accordion going on in the outside lane, and it was basically almost a 3 wide in the first corner. It was very hard for people to get out of the way. It's something that happens. It's not easy to. It's not basically anyone's fault. When you're so close, it's tight. It used to happen, and well, it's always not nice when someone usually suffers, and maybe someone else gets through unscathed, and it's a bit of luck, bit of Um, uh,
Skill.
yeah, skill to predict what's going to happen. That's a very subtle skill, also.
The sort of gamesmanship, not not gamesmanship, but experience. I think it's a sum of many parts. When you have such an incident coming up in front of you, and you can see it developing, you can see it coming up. You can use your experience to predict where the drivers are going and such, and predict the most safest line, if there is any, to get through from that accident. Unfortunately for drivers like Joonas, they simply had nowhere to go. He tried to brake, but he was in the middle of a 3-wide situation. Can't go left, can't go right. Valkyrie managing to get through on the right side of him, and also Fabian Gerber getting through unscathed on the left side of him, but Nukarinen getting caught up in that collision as well. And I think this is the time now that we should hear some comments from our race-winning driver, if he is here. From Glacier Racing, second week in a row, Mr. Joni Takanen. Joni, congratulations. Pole and a victory. It was a perfect race for you, no?
Yeah, thank you. Almost perfect. Few little mistakes only.
Only few little mistakes, so you still have some room to improve.
Yeah, but nobody is perfect anyway.
Yep, that is true. Nobody is perfect. So it was a flag-to-flag race from you, leading all the way through. But it might have not been as boring from your perspective as it was from ours.
Definitely not boring, because David was always about 1 second behind me and closing in if I made any mistake. So I had to give 110% all the way.
And we saw you doing that now. I heard an interesting comparison from Teemu Valkjärvi last week, your teammate, that with a modern Formula 1 car, you don't go 110% at any time. You always have to make some compromises to save tires or save fuel. Now with this car, you do go 100% all the way, sometimes even more. How difficult it is to maintain that perfect concentration for upwards of 45 minutes?
It is very difficult. My head hurts like hell now. Sorry for the cursing, but it is very sore now, because I have to put all the focus to driving that car that fast.
It's not a spurboard, it's just English for the place of Suvela. Anyway, anyway, a little bit of perhaps a migraine or a headache after the race, and that is one thing that I don't think many people realize how difficult it is to go flat out all the way. Anyway, Joni Takanen, convincing victory for you in this race this weekend. Now, will we see you on the top step of the podium next week as well?
Don't know yet, but I try everything.
Good answer. Now, one more thing before we let you to the final greetings. Any tips to our fellow drivers on how they can beat you?
Get good. I don't know. Sorry, but I don't know. Practice hard.
Yeah, and that is what you do. I heard a rumor that you're getting up every morning at 5 a.m. to practice. Is it true?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, well, that explains quite a lot of things. Now, Joni Takanen, a race winner for Glacier Racing here at Twin Ring Motegi, round number 6 of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix. If you have any words, thanks to your sponsors or greetings to your friends or family, feel free to do so in English or in Finnish. Ladies and gentlemen, Takanen.
Yeah, thanks goes to Glacier Racing, of course. We made a pretty decent set that took me to victory. And thank you for my sponsors, Communico and Tihao. And of course, thank you for my family.
Thank you to Joni Takanen. That was an excellent showcase of racing from you as well. Now, next up we have in the, let's not say roast bench of Tapani Linnaluoto, but certainly under some very strict questioning, Teemu Valkjärvi, also for Glacier Racing.
Hey Teemu, P11, are you happy?
Well, I'm pretty happy, but I would have hoped for top 10 at least. I knew I didn't have to pace for any very good positions, but top 10 would have been at least nice. So not entirely happy with this.
Regarding the turn 1 incident, I hate to quote a movie, but do you feel lucky, Punk?
Yeah, I do. I'm watching it actually right now, and I have no idea how I survived that.
Well, you managed to get through the only hole in the mess of cars there was, so, and it wasn't even on track. That
Yeah.
was quite nice getaway. Anyway, I think you didn't have much happenings in the race, no?
No, pretty boring race. Didn't have the pace to fight the guys in front, and the guys behind were too far behind to catch me.
Okay, I'm not sure if I have any very nice questions. Any greetings? Thanks.
Well, thanks to Takanen from the set again, and congrats on the win again as well. But yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And next up, we have our final interview of the day. Driver I know very well from another series, but somewhat of a newcomer to Classic Lotus Grand Prix, all the way from Australia. Edward Van Wilson, position number 15 for you, finishing one lap down, but some good battles. Talk us through your race.
First of all, g'day, Joonas and Tapani. How you doing? My race started.
We're doing fine.
My race started getting bogged down, and luckily that was a good thing due to that first lap incident. Managed to get around that and end up having a great battle with Gord for most of that race. Got it about 10 seconds ahead and ended up being slowed down by the battle with Philip. And eventually was able to catch up towards the end and got myself a good position.
That you did, and you had some good battles as well. Now, you originally come from the Grand Prix Legends series, if I'm correct. You have showed yourself to be a solid competitor in there. Now, what drove you to drive some more modern Formula 1 cars as well?
Well, originally I started off with the 79 about 5 years ago when it was first released. Wasn't in it for too long, but always have a soft spot for the classic team championship. It's very well run, just like the 49, sorry.
Yeah, and it's very good to see you back in that case. I wasn't here in the active community, of course, 5 years ago, so pardon me for that. Anyway, I know you personally more from the Grand Prix Legends side of things. Now, Motegi, how was it to drive from your perspective? How was the track and car combo? How did it feel?
I'll be the odd one out and say that this is probably one of my top tracks for the 79. It just flows so well. I'm not sure why so many people have problems with it. It might be because it's quite boring to do practice with, but when it comes to racing, you can just stay side by side for so long.
And now for the next question, how much did Tapani pay you to say that?
Nice to meet you, Tapani. First time seeing it.
Cheers. I hope some people still send me Christmas cards this year.
I think the postage would be a bit much for me, mate.
Fair enough, all the way from Australia, of course. Now, I wanted to ask you the next question before we let you do the free talk. What time is it for you?
The race starts at 2:30 a.m.
Holy, okay, that is
On a
some
Monday.
dedication. That is dedication and deserving of a virtual round of applause if I could give one. Of course, I can't because both of my hands are occupied right now. Anyway, thank you, Edward Van Wilson. I hope we see you on more races this season as well. Hope to see you, and nice to see you making some good progress with this car as well. Now, if you have any greetings to your friends, family, or anything you want to say, thanks to your sponsors, etc., and so on and so forth, feel free to do so either in English or your native language of Australian.
Oh, well, g'day, mate, to everyone out there. It was a good race, and I'd like to thank the AMF boys back at home. They've done very well to help prepare me for this event. We did the Daytona, and we did well. And I would just like to thank them for keeping me awake during these last 40 hours of being awake.
Thank you, Matt. That was a very interesting interview indeed, and everyone was and everybody finishing in the 15th position, trying to revert back to my own accent as well, as if I have one. So, doing the 24 hours of Daytona and 10 doing the Classic Lotus Grand Prix race, that, ladies and gentlemen, is dedication. And I think, Tapani, that is also a good end note to our broadcast here from round number 6. Any closing thoughts?
Oh, well, next week it's Sebring. It's a bit bumpy, but very fine track for this car. We should see very good racing there. It's a very nice combo. Back to a bit lower downforce again. Well, not much more, I think. Happy to be here, and I hope to see everyone again next week.
I hope so too. So Sebring, we return or we go to Florida for next week. One of the surprisingly legendary circuits. People think Sebring and they don't know it very well in Europe, but it's a very legendary circuit, especially for GT cars. The 12 hours of Sebring, that will come later in the spring, but next week it is time for the 45 minutes of Sebring here from the Classic Lotus Grand Prix Series. 4:30 p.m. GMT Sunday, twitch.tv /Trellet. That will be the location. This was a Trellet TV broadcast. In the broadcast booth was me, Joonas Puhakka. Alongside with me was Tapani Linnaluoto, and behind the cameras doing the work of 5 men was Eero Forsblom once again. Thank you for watching. Have a nice rest of your weekend and good night.